When people first start off in recruiting, they think they're choosing a recruiting job, but what they're actually choosing is how much control they're ever going to have over their income, their time, and their clients. Because here's the deal. In recruiting, you've got three main paths to choose. One is you go in-house and become a corporate recruiter, where you get a steady paycheck, a single employer, and pretty decent benefits. But the moment there's a hiring freeze, well, they don't need recruiters anymore. So you're silently on a Zoom call, listening to HR explain why your role no longer exists. Second path is that you join a recruiting agency, which is fast paced, lots of variety. But the moment you place a candidate, the vast majority of the fee, the lion's share, goes directly to the house. And you can feel like you're working hard to make the agency owner rich while you take home a tiny slice of the pie for all the work that you did. Or last option is you take control and you run a full desk. And what that means is you bring in the clients, find the candidates, and make the placement. So start to finish, it's all you. And the best part of learning how to become a full desk recruiter is that it unlocks the opportunity for you to start your own recruiting business so that way you can have the freedom to handpick your clients, control your time, choose when and where you work, and keep 100% of the placement fees that you earn. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 core skills required to become a successful full desk recruiter. These are skills I picked up over the last 15 years in recruiting, including running my own boutique recruiting business. So let's dive right in. So the skills that you'll be learning to become a full desk really start with the first core skill, which is determining whether you get clients in the first place. And that skill is business development. The unfortunate truth is that it almost doesn't matter how hardworking you are, how good you are at talking to candidates, how much experience you have in recruiting, if you don't know how to get a client, because then you don't have a client to recruit for. But there are 2 main challenges. The first is that most recruiting agencies typically won't cross-train you to get clients and candidates. I mean, why would they do that? Because it's far more efficient for them to keep you in your silo, in your lane, so that way all you do is just keep your head down and recruit. Plus, if they train you on how to get clients, then what's to stop you from going off on your own and opening up your own shop, right? They're afraid of losing their agency recruiters to that as well. And the second challenge is that the agency who does train you in business development, if they do that, they'll teach you how to do it the traditional old-fashioned way, which is smiling and dialing. Just roll up your sleeves, get some coffee, and start grinding. And we'll run an end of day report or end of week report to see how many reach outs you did. They never teach you how to leverage what I consider more modern business development strategies like LinkedIn automation. The vast majority of the people who reach out to us to help them start their recruiting business, they have a full-time job. And on top of that, they're probably busy with their family life. So they want to run the recruiting business part-time and simply don't have hours and hours every day manually researching companies, reaching out to hiring managers, logging everything into a CRM, scheduling follow-ups, and then doing it all over again the very next day. Like it just never happens, right? Impossible. All right, so the next skill is account management. This is all about building a relationship with the hiring manager that's agreed to work with you, right? They signed a service agreement that says, I will pay you 20% of your candidate's first year base salary if I hire them. Now, good account managers will work with the hiring manager to understand the requirements of the roles, define expectations, calibrate their search criteria up front to ensure that they can recruit the right candidate for their new client. And most recruiters have, at some point, had a direct line of communication with a hiring manager, but this can sometimes be a trap because recruiters who want to branch out on their own will sometimes tell me, hey, John, I think I'll be good at getting clients. I mean, I already talk to hiring managers at my job all the time. I send candidates to them. I update them. I debrief them. Here's the deal though. When I talk to those recruiters, I kind of give them the idea that account management is probably the easiest of those 4 core skills because you're literally just talking to a hiring manager that's already agreed to work with you or your agency. The agency owner usually just is the one that landed the client and they're just assigning an existing client for you to manage that relationship. Because more often than not, when I ask those recruiters, oh, it's great. I'm glad that you have account management skills, but I'm curious, how many did you reach out to cold, built a relationship from scratch, jumped on a sales call with them, got them to be excited to work with you, negotiated fee agreements with them, and then getting them to sign the contract? The answer is almost always, oh, no, I've never done that before. So you see the big difference between getting clients and managing clients, right? Very big difference. All right, the next core skill is sourcing and recruiting. I group those together because, in my opinion, they're kind of the same. Sourcing is finding the candidates, and recruiting is bringing them to the table for your client to interview. And a good recruiter already knows how to do both. And people who are not recruiters but have industry experience, right, industry expertise, and a pretty good network of people on LinkedIn that they're connected to, they kind of intuitively know how to reach out and kind of talk to people and recruit them. So in my opinion, I think a lot of people would agree with me with this, is that recruiting isn't rocket science. Right? It's basically just talking to people and emailing resumes. Obviously, I'm oversimplifying, but I think that's why people who are natural connectors, people who identify as people persons, they're attracted to the idea of becoming an independent recruiter in their niche because they just intuitively know that they do a good job. They love talking to people. They love helping others. The last skill is operations. Now, if you've worked at a recruiting agency, most likely you've never been involved with registering the business, sending the client invoices, collecting payment, dealing with taxes, setting up staffing or contracting, time cards, and stuff like that, because usually an operations manager handles all of that. But if you ever want to run your own recruiting business, that's a hat that you'll have to also wear. But the good news is it's really straightforward, something that you can quickly learn. Obviously, we help with that too. The key is to not get intimidated by handling all the details, because it's really simple, like I said, very learnable. And the last thing you want is to have the operations side of the business stop you from even thinking about starting your own recruiting business, if that's what you want to do. So now you know the 4 core skills required to be a full desk recruiter: business development, account management, sourcing and recruiting, and operations, which are also the foundational skills necessary for running your own recruiting business. But here's the catch. If you don't dial in one more thing, you run the risk of blending in with a sea of other recruiters, the competition, and just getting overlooked. So check out the next video where I'll walk you through exactly how to stand out from the crowd when you reach out to potential clients and have them see you as a subject matter expert who they would want to talk to from the very first message you send them. Thanks for your time and attention. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in that video. Bye now.